I'm here with Celine Rowley, and we're going to hear a little bit of how God's been at work in your life, and I'll just let you jump right into it.
Well, I was raised in church from the time I was a little kid. I was there until I was probably around 20. About that time, I got married, and things got super busy. And I actually was away from the church for almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was married for almost 29 years. But there was an emotional part of it that became more than I could handle. And it was, my choice was either I was contemplating suicide, that I chose to walk out the door. And I put what I could put in a truck and a Jeep, and I left. And I stayed at my aunt for about 6 months. God was so in the fact that I worked at a place that had really good insurance, and I was recommended a Christian counseling service from a church. And when I went there, it was God provided in the fact that I had 4 years of counseling at no cost.
Oh, wow.
The other thing he did that was so amazing is there was a trailer park near us, and I kept looking for a trailer that was just right. And one day I walked in on a Santa Claus rug, and I walked in and there was dishes and plates and towels and washcloths, and there was a bedroom set and a living room set, and for someone who put what they put in a truck and a Jeep and they left, they didn't have that.
Yeah.
And God provided the fact that I could afford it. And a single person, I didn't think I could, and I could. I got back into church, and I've always said this, I got back into church by Bob Evans. And I just ran into a friend from high school. Aunt Dorothy and I were there having dinner, and Aunt Dorothy, I greeted her, and Aunt Dorothy said, "Come and have with us." And she'd go, "You don't know me." "No, come with us." She talked about her church, and I went there, and there are people from Faith Baptist there who greeted me and made me feel at home. And it turned out that Faith Trinity was like my home away from home. You know, my friend Krista the first 3 months I went to church, I think she was handing me tissue after tissue after tissue, because I was crying, because all the messages meant so much to my heart, and God was speaking to me so loudly.
I hear that a lot with people who have been away from church for a long time, and they come back. There's always it seems like there's often a very emotional kind of reunion with God's people.
Yes, and so I just felt very, very, very blessed there, and I try to give back from what was given to me as well. I had friends that just meant so much to me that I hadn't had before, you know, with the relationship that I had earlier, and this was a place where I found that. My kids were here, and this is where they were going to make their home. And so I kept saying, "God, do you want me to go? Do you want me to go?" And I kept hearing, "Not yet, not yet, not yet." And then I was reading the 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman when I was flying to visit them, and words that come through what was that relationship that you cherish today, you know, that means a lot to you? And I kept going, it was that relationship I had with my grandmother. And I just felt so very blessed by that relationship that I wanted to have that type of relationship with my grandchildren. And so I had them here for almost 4 years, but I knew that there was a potential that they would have to move. And my son did get a job in Virginia. And no, I'm not going to Virginia. This is where God wants me, and I know that, and I feel that every day, that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Well, and you've got quite I call it a ministry, because you're a nurse.
I've actually worked in nursing homes since I was 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
I was a nurse aide at first while I was going through nursing school. And if I make someone laugh that day, it has made my day.
That's
you
great.
know, yes, it is a calling for me, and it is a place I find my joy. It really is.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything else you wanna throw in?
No, I'm just thankful I found Stone Ridge. Stone Ridge, in a way, is so much like Trinity in the fact that you guys have made me feel so very welcome, so part of your family. And with my family gone, you're it. You're my family now. So happily so. Happily so. So thank you very much for being my family.